right, welcome to the third game of the evening. Up this time is Animal Lover. Now, I suppose the first thing I have to address is that title is not as loaded as you might think it is.
It's a bit of a double meaning.
Yeah,
The
but it's
primary
also
meaning is
not.
that you play as a character who wants
Yeah,
to be a veterinarian because she loves taking care of animals, and the second one is that this is a effectively an otome game, although it's Western made, where the five possible love interests are cursed to transform into animals.
yeah, and to further elaborate, that is like actual animals, not half anthropomorphized kind. The game very prominently mentions no furries. So,
Nope, you got a regular old hamster, a ferret, a cat, a dog, and a bear.
yeah. So yeah, this game kind of turned off a good chunk of its potential audience here just with that maneuver, and I'm not joking either. But yeah, the aim here is Animal Lover is a dating sim / visual novel where you play a young woman trying to cure 5 beefy, attractive men from being turned into animals forever. So, I don't know, Ramna one half vibes here. Probably not intentional.
Not exactly. So the inciting incident is, like I said, your character is a vet intern, and there's a couple lady and her daughter bring in their hamster, and she kisses the hamster when the girl holds it up to do that, and then it turns into a guy.
I bet that was a hell of a shock.
It very much was, especially since he was inside a cage at the time.
Oh.
It's one of the screen. Yeah, it's one of the screen caps on Steam.
And yeah, because this is a girl-focused dating sim, they're all very attractive, and they turn back naked. And one of the jokes is that this girl does not have much money, being an unpaid intern, and therefore the clothes that they initially get are, shall we say, of varying degrees of like stylish. She gets them from a thrift store, so not necessarily what people would choose to wear. So yeah, so you meet the 5 guys in order of how long ago they were cursed by complete coincidence. Starting with one from like hundreds of years ago, then one from the 50s, one from the 80s, one from the 90s, and one from 2016, which is 1 year before the game takes place. And I played this game for like a few hours, and I did not get past like I got to the point where you've met all 5 guys, and you're just starting to like figure out what to do after that, because the first guy had noticed another animal at a previous pet visit was also cursed like him, because they have for whatever reason they have the ability to identify other people with the same curse. So the first several chapters of the thing is checking all the places in this town where animals are, to find other people that are cursed, and also then one specific chapter dedicated to breaking into the zoo, because go figure, the bear is not at a pet shop.
Who would have thought? You mean y'all don't go buy your bears on on a weird Friday evening?
Anyway, so yeah, the guys all have basically, depending on how long they've been cursed for, the more together they had it with being cursed, but also the less they remembered about it. So it's not until you get to the last guy who remembers the name of the person who cursed them, and then that makes them all remember that it was a witch and that they had all done something immediately before it. The first guy says that he held open a door for her and she got mad at him, and I believe the implication is that they had all done something chauvinistic or something. Like it gets a little bit glossed over when he's describing it, but it sounds like he probably said something about like girls not liking to have doors held open for them anymore or being ungrateful or something. And then the other ones don't say immediately. One of the things that you find out in the game apparently is what they did, either from the one that you choose to be in a relationship with or from the witch, if you don't get to know anyone well enough or something, because apparently you track her down. Again, I'm sorry, I did find this interesting, but I had not left aside as much time because I expected this to be another relatively short one. But no, and also it has like, I think technically 7 endings according to what I saw on Steam. Because there's like one ending for each of the 5 guys, one ending for no one, and then the guy with the black hair and the white front shock of his hair, or white hair but it's black in the back, Kyle Yang, he is apparently the like canonical / main choice. He's the one from the 80s, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been a couple anyway. The ones that were all close together were a little bit weirder. The friggin' prince from like no later than the 1800s, and the guy from the 50s stand out way more. So yeah, at the beginning, it's a lot of like, okay, how am I going to take care of this? Because she lives with her parents and she can't just keep bringing strange men to stay, and they don't really have places to stay. Eventually she gets a friend involved and to help take care of it, and the guy who was cursed only a year ago has some resources apparently. So that's about where I got up to. As far as the writing is pretty engaging, and I say that as someone who is definitely not the targeted audience of this game, being neither a woman nor attracted to men. There is a significant amount of text devoted to how attractive she finds the guys, and obviously lots of scenes of people standing around in not a whole lot of clothing or none, with censor faces over their hips, because the first time he trains back, at least, there's no clothes. Also, apparently, the animal forms have influenced their hair color or something. I don't know. Because the guy from the 50s is who's the cat. He's the big brown-haired guy who now has orange thing because he was apparently probably a female cat lately because it looked calico. I don't know if they actually go into that. But the oldest one goes into the fact that the animal can die and then they just come back as another animal until someone kissed them, which is what the character that you play as has to do to make them transform. And most nights, one of them just changes back randomly, and I had not gotten to the point where they figured out what determines that. I think as far as I can tell, this is mostly rated for. It's rated mature, but it's mostly relatively decent. It's not like quote unquote adult. Apparently, there is a suicide that occurs in the plot later on, but it's one of the guys, and because of the curse, they get better. So, trigger warning for that. I don't know. Is there anything? There's no voice acting. The music is pretty understated, except for there's like a hardish rock theme that comes up, usually when Kyle's around or when they're doing something exciting, which again, usually Kyle's around. So far at least, that stood out to me. No vocals, but that it was definitely it's definitely different from most of the rest of the music. Do you guys have any questions or anything I think I haven't covered? I'm a little bit rusty on these reviews.
I think I'm good.
And again, it's a visual novel, and I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind that you could answer.
Because, yeah, once I realized I wasn't going to have time to play, like, most of it, I did look some things up. Okay. So, yeah, overall, I think it was actually pretty good. As someone who this is definitely not the target audience for this, but I'd have to consult with someone who is to get a stronger opinion. What's the damage price wise?
Let's see. On the Nintendo Switch version, it's $9.99, $10.
I'd probably say that's okay. There's like this is not an excuse game or anything. There's an actual story here. You could play it multiple times different ways. It's not just a narrative. There are choices you make. Some of them later on obviously are more impactful than some of the very early ones. A lot of it apparently is the boys end up debating / arguing about various things where that they have different opinions about based on the fact that they're from very different time periods, even like the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s have had significant changes in social mores and stuff.
Of course.
And that's largely the mechanic, I think, that determines what route you end up on, is like who you end up supporting in arguments and stuff. Yeah, I think that's probably about all I have to say. I'm sorry I was not able to finish it.
It's fine.
If I'd known it was long, I probably would have started earlier. But the last couple of visual novels we've had, I've been able to finish in like 3 hours.
Oh, well. Right, so that'll about do it for Animal Lover here. That title is not getting any less awkward to say, but anyway. So be sure to tune in after the break as we review Escape from the Red Planet.